and welcome to Newcastle's Refugee Week event, welcoming refugees to Newcastle. My name is Jo McGregor and I will be your MC for this evening. I am an occupational therapist and community development worker for STARTS. STARTS is the New South Wales service for the treatment and rehabilitation of torture and trauma survivors. STARTS is a specialist non-profit organisation that for 30 years has provided culturally relevant psychological treatment and support and community interventions to help people and communities heal the scars of torture and refugee trauma and rebuild their lives in Australia. The event this evening is co-hosted by STARTS, Northern Settlement Services and the University of Newcastle. We would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of this land, the Awabakal and Worimi people, over which sovereignty was never ceded. We acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge the ongoing trauma of colonisation and dispossession. We support justice for First Nations people. The Refugee Week theme for 2020 is celebrating the Year of Welcome, and that is indeed the topic that we will be exploring in more detail tonight in the context of Newcastle. Shortly, we will be introducing the panel of special guests, but just before we do, I will just give a brief background on Newcastle. Newcastle is a regional town in New South Wales, Australia. It's 2.5 hours north of Sydney. There are approximately 320,000 people living in Newcastle and its close surrounds. And this includes Lake Macquarie. There are 155,000 people making up the city of Newcastle itself. Newcastle has been a migrant and refugee settlement area since the end of World War II. This has included the Greta migrant camp post-World War II, with a second wave of migration in the early 90s due to conflict that affected the countries of former Yugoslavia. In 1999, there was a Singleton Safe Haven program that supported the Kosovos. And since then, Newcastle has been a settlement area for refugees, including people from Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, the Congo, Somalia, South Sudan, Burundi, and other African countries. And STARTS began outreach services in 1996 here in Newcastle. So as I said before, we have a special program for you this evening. We will start with the panel introducing themselves. So I'll just bring the panel in at this stage. There we go. So we'll start first with Debbie Carstens of Northern Settlement Services and Asteri. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, Debbie Carstens here from Northern Settlement Services. I work with the settlement team as the manager.
Hi, my name is Asteri and I work as a youth worker with the Maris 180.
Thank you, Debbie and Asteri. Oh, Roger, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hey, I'm Roger, aka King Fire. I'll be the musician for tonight. Yeah, hope you just enjoy my music.
Thank you, Roger. Hassan, would you like to go next?
Yes.
Thank you, Hassan. Hassan was just saying it's his 4th year here in Australia and he's from Syria. Astrid, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi. My name's Astrid Gearan. I'm the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator supporting students at the University of Newcastle. And tonight I will be basically facilitating the chat and the Q&A. So if you have general chat or some comments, that's fine. But if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. And then also if you support or like that question, I think you can like press bump or like a like. So that'll let us know that there's lots of enthusiasm about that question. And of course, we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can this evening. Nice to be here with you all.
Thanks, Astrid. So as I said, we have a special program this evening, starting with an interview with Asteri from Burundi. So Debbie Carstens will be facilitating that interview. Then we will be entertained by Roger Mazombo, aka Fire King, who will be launching his music video clip tonight for his two songs, Mashindi and My Dear. As Astrid said, she will then be presenting the short clip presented by students from the University of Newcastle from refugee backgrounds or refugee experiences. We will then finish with a final interview with Hassan Al-Kasai from Syria. And then it's over to you, the audience, for Q&A, of which Astrid will be moderating. So as Astrid said, there is that Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. That's where you click and you can start putting your questions in throughout the interviews, and then that Q&A will be at the end of the program. So to get us started, I will now pass you over to Debbie Carstens and Asteri. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jo, and that's great to have the opportunity to have everybody listening in for our segment this evening. So Asteri, I thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed for today's Refugee Week event. Happy Refugee Week. Let's start by talking about, in a year of welcome, we have to talk about Australian barbecues, don't we? The Australian barbecue is the place where we welcome people, where people, we might have school barbecues, I'm sure you've been to, or other barbecues that friends have invited you to. And I'm sure that one of the questions you get asked when you're at a barbecue is, where are you from? What's the kind of question, how do you answer or describe that question? Where are you from?
I normally answer them that I come from Africa.
From Africa.
Yeah. And then they'll be like, you don't look like someone who's from Africa. So what part of Africa? I would be like, in Burundi. And then they'll be like, it's my first time to hear that. Where is that from? So I have to go on map. I'm not good with the maps. I'm quite a geography. So I will ask them if they know it's Rwanda and Congo. Those are popular countries now.
So people know Congo, they know Rwanda.
Yeah, but they don't know.
But they've never heard of Burundi.
So we are actually like neighbors. Like it's only the water separating us. So if they know it's Rwanda, they will know it's Burundi.
Okay, so yeah, so that's how that they kind of figure out where you come from.
Yeah.
So you'd come from Burundi originally, but you didn't actually grow up there, did you?
No, actually, I didn't see Burundi until when I was 25. So I was born in Burundi, but I was born in time of war. So my parents, we moved to Tanzania, where I grew up when I was 7 months. So I never seen Burundi until I was 25 on my brother's wedding. He went to get married there. So I went with him. It was my first time.
That was your first time in Burundi, and as a person who recognised or remembered it, yeah?
I did remember because it was my first time to see
it. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool, great. So when also if you're at a barbecue, people will say, oh, what did you do back in the country that you came from, and what are you doing now? What would you be saying about what you did?
In time of barbecue or in time of life?
So at a barbecue, people might ask you the question, oh, what are you doing? What did you do back in your country of origin, and what are you doing now? So how would you answer that question?
It's a bit different. For what I see in Burundi, for a girl who is same age as me, is either they're staying with their parents, doing farm, more likely to have a job, more likely to finish university. No, less likely. Less likely to have a job, or less likely to finish uni or school.
Yeah.
And more of them, they will be married.
Okay.
So I would say, because I came when I was 15, so I was just still in school.
Right. So you were a school kid in Tanzania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was studying when I got here. I was studying too, so it wasn't much. There was much different because of system of study.
Sure.
But still, I was still a student.
Yeah. So tell us, what is it you're doing now?
So I just graduated from university. I did Bachelor of Social Science in Human Service. I graduated last year and I struggled to get a job because I don't have experience. Even though I did my placement, it wasn't enough for me to get a job. So at the moment, I'm working as a youth worker with my risk 180, as I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
And I also work as nurse assistant in aged care.
In aged care,
Yeah.
right. And my understanding was you worked in aged care right through your whole university period, like what you were studying too, yeah?
So when I was studying, I got back after finishing high school, which was about 5 years ago. I went to TAFE. I did my community service certificate 4. And during my diploma, community service, I also studied certificate 3 in aged care. So after I finished my diploma, I got a job. No, after I finished my certificate 3 in aged care, I got a job in aged care. So I did my university while I'm working in aged care.
Yeah, great. So you've been a very busy woman.
Yeah, my life is juggling.
Juggling always. Fair enough. That's great.
Yeah.
So this year is the year of welcome for Refugee Week. That's the theme. What is it? What are the things that made you feel welcome here in Newcastle?
Good question. You know, when we came to Australia, we were first arrived in Newcastle. After 4 years, we moved to Victoria in Mildura. It's a countryside.
In Mildura, yeah.
So I came back. So in terms of people, when we go here, we had what they call Penola House. It's called now Zara House. So they were very lovely ladies. We had a lot of activities to do during the whole day, during the weekend, and during after school. So we would just come here. It was down the road.
Yeah.
So we would just come, have fun, doing some sewing, use computer, doing lessons online. Or that day, it was always something for us to do. So we felt more welcome because they were willing to help.
Yeah.
And in terms of weather, Newcastle, I would say, is the best. It's not too cold, it's not too hot, it's just perfect.
Great. Okay. So those activities and all that activity that happened at Penola House was part of what made you feel welcome.
Yeah, because we could go out more into the community on different events, and we had a Burundian women group dance, which we performed everywhere.
Performed everywhere in dance.
Yeah.
That's great. Fabulous. And what about these days? What are the things that make you feel welcome in Newcastle these days?
I'm actually disappointed.
Oh, no.
A bit. I'm disappointed because in terms of Burundian community, they're not active as the old community it was here. And like all the program we used to do for 4 years ago when I was here is a bit different.
Okay.
So we don't get that access as we used to. Like Zara's house is there, but it's not active as it was before because I think there's only one person running it. While like 2 years ago, it was more than just one person, and they had more support. So
there was more activity happening. Yeah. Okay. So that's really interesting to hear. Is there anything you think that would have been great? Any extra things that would have been great for you to have to welcome you to Newcastle when you arrived or now? I mean, obviously that extra activity now you think would be valuable, but is there other extra things that you think, if that had happened when we arrived, that would have really helped us to feel welcome?
To be honest, when I arrived in Australia, they did their best. I would say I wouldn't need any more, but I don't know how the new Arabs now they've been treated. But back then, I would say we had everything we needed. Yeah.
Fabulous. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that you're now been part of welcoming other Burundian and Congolese community members here to Australia in more recent times, since because it's been a while now. I think it was 14 years ago you first came to Australia? 12 years ago, okay. So what have you done to help welcome some of the newer people and help them to settle? Yeah.
They hide too much.
They hide?
Yes, and they think they're too smart for everything. I'll be honest, because they don't need help. They don't want help. If you're trying to tell them, oh, you need to do this to be able to achieve this, they'll be like, no, I know what I'm doing.
Okay, so you're kind of finding that some of the more newly arrived people are wanting to be more independent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
But for whoever willing to help, wanting help, I normally do help.
Yeah.
In terms of teaching them driving,
right.
In terms of showing around, I'm free to do that. But if you're not willing to, I back off. Yeah.
And you're talking about becoming part of a new kind of young adults kind of support activity that we've been talking about as well. Yeah?
I would be more happy to do it because I would like to see young adults growing, knowing what they want, because having everything in front of you, it messes up your mind and you don't know what to choose. But for a person who has experience being there, and as a younger person growing into it, you actually get your mind set like, so I tried this, didn't work out. I tried this, didn't work out. What can I do to help others?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you feel like people are overwhelmed by the choices they might have in
Australia?
Australia?
They have so much and they don't know where to choose them.
Yeah.
Normally you choose the wrong way.
Yeah. So having people around you to kind of share their experience is a positive thing, yeah?
It gives you more ideas of like, oh, then if this is like this, let me try something else. And hear from different people, not just from one person, knowing what they went through, or what was the failure for them, what can you do differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And just to finish up the interview, we'll come back to the panel later, but is there anything that you would want to say to people here in Newcastle community while you have a chance to say that to them?
That's a big tricky one. They needed to be more helpful with, like, as people who are from Africa, we more of, I won't say scared or shy to ask you questions or to ask for help, because the system of here is different to a system of Burundi. If you approach them asking them for help, they'll be like, no, I'm fine. And not because they don't need help, but because they don't want to bother you.
Okay.
Or they think, oh, you may need something from them to give it back to you. So that you might have a reciprocal thing or expecting something in return. Yeah. So the way you can approach them and try to do something that is more fun so they can be interested in it. Okay. Yeah. So rather than saying, hey, can we help you? Just becoming a friend and doing some fun things together is what's really welcoming and positive for people. Make friends, not best friends, but friends. Get to know them, how they like, and by you being close to them, they'll be more open to you. They will think, oh, I'm struggling with this one and I don't know how to get help. Right. Yeah. So in the middle of a friendship, people will feel more able to ask for help than they would otherwise. I reckon. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Esther. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk. No, thank you. Back to you, Joe.
Joe, we can't hear you.
Thanks, thanks, Debbie, and thanks, Asteri. So making friends sounds like a really great way to help people to feel welcome, making friends and getting to know them. And that's a great way to support and help each other. So thank you. Okay, so now we will be listening to and watching a music video by Roger. So I'll just bring Roger in so that he can introduce his music video. Hi, Roger.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, my name is Roger. I've recorded 2 songs, Mushindi and My Dear. Mushindi is in Swahili, my mother tongue, because I'm a Congolese, which means a winner. So I wrote a song from Congo. When I was in Kenya. We went to a competition and bad luck, I didn't pass. So I wasn't lucky, and people started saying that you can't just make it. Because I can't just do anything than writing music. I wrote a song, create a melody. So instead of being frustrating by life or be sad, I just chosen just to write a song down so I can just enjoy. Even though I didn't pass, but the song made me just feel like I'm good on it. So that is the song is about.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Roger. And we'll just now play Mushindi, and then we'll come back to you before the next song.
Okay.
Mushindi, Fire Kingdom, is that too? Gang. Siendi na haraka bado najenga jina na mwendo pole naendelea kutusua. Mimi sina haraka ndani ya yangu mipango cause haraka hainaga baraka. Jesha mtu mmoja ndo maana nasimame mara mahali wamekwama ndipo mimi napenya cause akili inabidi ndo songoza yangu lengo ndo maana kuna pahali mimi naeza bana ndani yangu safari ni kupanda tu hakuna kushuka chini bali ni kupanda juu ninayo nia ndo maana nefuata njia confidence hiyo uniwezesha nimezaliwa kushinda wala so kushindwa ila kitu ngangana ndo maana mimi nakwambia mimi ni mshindi nimezaliwa kushinda wala so kushindwa ila kitu ngangana ndo maana ninakwambia mimi ni mshindi nakwambia mimi ni mshindi nakwambia mimi ni mshindi okay niko sawa tena najiamini kwa kazi nimechagua wananita mwenyekiti walionicheka wananiomba ka selfie walionidharau wakinyona na nishimu ila wengi wanacheza wakiona kombe kwa picha wanasema wameshashinda vifunguoni macho mkiota kwa jua mutaito wazazi sijawafunza bado ajetse kwa mwalimu na wajulisha tu mumeingia kwa sekta yangu sijawatusi bado na kama ndio samani haya ni maongezi tena yale ya ndani na kuonea huruma cause mumengangana za miaka 20 ba ndo kutobwa nyinyi washindi wa kushindwa si kwa mashujaa na nyinyi mtasherekea sinanyi pia washindi nimezaliwa kushinda wala so kushindwa ila kitu ngangana ndo maana mimi nakwambia mimi ni mshindi nimezaliwa kushinda wala so kushindwa ila kitu ngangana ndo maana ninakwambia mimi ni mshindi nakwambia mimi ni mshindi nakwambia mimi ni mshindi kutoka tumboni nimezaliwa na ushindi mwendo wa shule nimetembea na ushindi chede napokuja kwa mwisho natoka mshindi ndani ya kazi nakamilisha ushindi kutoka tumboni nimezaliwa na ushindi mwendo wa shule nimetembea na ushindi chede napokuja kwa mwisho natoka mshindi ndani ya kazi nakamilisha ushindi nimezaliwa kushinda wala so kushindwa ila kitu ngangana ndo maana mimi nakwambia mimi ni mshindi nimezaliwa kushinda wala so kushindwa, kila kitu ng'ang'ana, ndo maana nakwambia mimi ni mshindi, mshindi, nakwambia mimi ni mshindi, mshindi, nakwambia mimi ni mshindi, mshindi.
Thank you, Roger. Wow, that was incredible.
Yeah.
And I understand that's the launch of your music video this evening.
Yeah. Right now I'm just working on my EP because I'm just recording. It's like about 6 songs. So I made like 3 songs already. So it's remained the other 3 to make it to be full. So I'm just still working on it, and hopefully before the end of this year, we can just have my music.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to the EP coming out.
Yeah, sure.
So your next song, before we go over to Astrid for the uni clip, would you like to tell us a little bit about your next song?
Yeah, my dear is just a love song to appreciate all the women in this world. You know, when I came to Australia, it was a bit tricky for me because I'm from Congo, and in Congo we used just to speak French and other languages. But when I came here, you know, you can't just be singing your Banzatan, you have even to sing some song which people can just understand. So I just decided to write a song in English. As the name it is, it's my dear. So I appreciate all the women. It can be your mom or your sister, whatever it can be. So yeah, it's just a love song.
Wonderful. All right, without any further ado, we'll now play the second music video, My Dear, by Fire King.
When I look at you, my dear, your baby face, oh my God, it drives me crazy. Hello, my darling, without you for real, I'm losing control. That is why I'm in love with you. That is why I will stay with you. Tell me what you want, I'll do as soon as you want. Like this or like that, I will follow you too. Go forward or come back, I'm still behind you. That is why I'm in love with you. That is why I will stay with you. You have the values on the and money, my dear. That's when put on gone food and water, my dear. I can't live to go, my dear. Whatever we do, my dear. You have the values on the and money, my dear. That's when put on gone food and water, my dear. I can't live to go, my dear. Whatever we do, my dear. My dear, my dear, my dear, my dear. In the day, you're my sunshine. In the night, you're my lovely moon. On the bed, make me feel that rotation. You make me feel that vibration. It's all a big competition. Oh, my dear, you make me lose control. My dear, I can't survive without you. My dear, there is no one like you. My dear, my dear, my dear, my dear. My dear, you make me lose control. My dear, I can't survive without you. my dear. There is no one like you, my dear, my dear, my dear, my dear. Love the values on the mundo and money, my dear. You're so important on food and water, my dear. I can't let you go, my dear. Forever with you, my dear. Love the values on the mundo and money, my dear. You're so important on food and water, my dear. I can't let you go, my dear. Forever with you, my dear. My dear. My dear. My dear. My dear, my dear, you have the values on the mundo and money, my dear. Also important on food and water, my dear. I can't let you go, my dear. Forever with you, my dear. You have the values on the mundo and money, my dear. Also important on food and water, my dear. I can't let you go, my dear. Forever with you, my dear.
Wow, thank you, Roger. It's heartfelt, beautiful music. So we really look forward to that launch when it comes out later in the year. I can see over in the chat there is lots of comments about your music, very positive comments.
Thank you.
Yeah, something about you should go on. People are suggesting you go on X Factor in Australia, which is a music competition for singers.
Wow.
It's on a TV music competition. People keep saying, I love this, I love this. Yeah, lots of really positive comments. So thank you for your time this evening, and we'll be seeing you again later on in the Q&A towards the end of the
right. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I will be passing you over to Astrid Gearan from the University of Newcastle, who will be introducing the launch of their clip, the university clip, The Year of Welcome. Thank you, Astrid.
Hi, everyone. Roger, that was amazing. People are still, you can probably see it in the chat. People are waiting for your EP to get together. They're wanting to know if you play anywhere locally, maybe pre-COVID, because I'm guessing you wouldn't have been performing lately. Yeah, lots of love is getting shouted out to you, and people are saying also maybe go on The Voice, and that you're very smooth, you know, smooth sound. So there's lots of love being shouted for you. Yeah, so I work with lots of students at the University of Newcastle, and given Refugee Week, spoke to a couple of students who just wanted to join us in a clip and say Happy Refugee Week. So you might have seen this already floating around the internet and community, but we'll pop it up now. Just 1 second.
Hi everyone, my name is Azim Rasuli.
My name is Warda Ali.
My name is Louida Kijman.
My name is Khadija Ibrahimi.
My name is Marwa Al-Qassi.
Hello, my name is Ferdin. I'm from Kabul, Afghanistan.
The countries that I live in are Iraq, and I'm in Australia now.
My family is from Afghanistan, but I was born in Iran and I now live in Australia.
I identify as being an Arab Muslim. I was born and raised in Syria. Then when I was 12, I moved to Jordan. And then at 15 and a half, maybe, I came to Australia.
I am from Afghanistan, obviously, and then prior to coming to Australia, I lived in Indonesia for about 4 to 4.5 years. It was quite fun learning about Indonesians' culture and language.
Countries I have lived in, my home country Afghanistan and Australia.
I lived in several countries such as Burundi, where I was born, Tanzania, where I spent several years in a refugee camp, Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, and now I live in Australia. I speak several languages including English, French, Kirundi, Kinyarwanda, and Swahili.
So I speak 2 languages, Arabic and English.
The languages that I speak are Kurdish, Kurmanji, Arabic, and English.
I found Newcastle people very friendly, open-minded and welcoming people. They help us a lot.
People in Newcastle really made me feel welcomed in when I first came, and I think they did that by, the smiles and helping me find a study path or finding a job or being in the community.
I felt quite welcome from the beginning, and especially when I enrolled into the University of Newcastle. It was quite good. It was easy for me to make friends and, to learn about the Australian culture and language. That was quite good for me.
I don't like snakes, and I also don't like the Australian slang. It's really difficult to understand what's being said.
Something I don't like in Australia, it's mosquitoes. I don't like mosquitoes at all.
I don't like mosquitoes.
I don't like how people eat Vegemite the wrong way and then they say they don't like it. But maybe try eating it the proper way.
Refugee Week for me, it's a great time to be recognized as equal Australian.
I like to say Happy Refugee Week to all my fellow refugees. Don't forget to smile.
Happy Refugee Week to all of you. Thank you.
Happy Refugee Week.
Happy Refugee Week.
Happy Refugee Week.
Happy Refugee Week to everyone. Bye.
Thanks everyone for joining me in showing all of you guys that. Oh, hang on. Something's happening in my background. I apologize. I'm not as smooth as everyone else in technology.
It is a lovely background of the space.
I am in space.
Yes.
There are people coming in on the comments. I don't know if everyone can see it, that mosquitoes are terrible at the university. So if you haven't been out to Callaghan, it was built on a wetland. So yeah, mosquitoes are definitely for people that are born in different countries that are new to Newcastle and join us at the university, definitely get a first-hand experience at being bitten by mosquitoes. Yeah, if anyone has any questions about that or at the about the university, you can always contact me after the panel or today. And thank you for the opportunity. The students really love the opportunity to be able to share some information about themselves and, just share in community.
Great.
Thanks, Jo.
Thanks, Astrid. And remember, any questions that you have during the program, put them in the Q&A, and Astrid will be moderating the Q&A at the end. So now we will be passing you over for our final interview with Hassan Al-Kasai. So Debbie Carstens from Northern Settlement Services will be facilitating that interview. I'll just bring Debbie and Hassan in. There we go.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jo. And great stuff, Roger, and wonderful video. Thanks, Astrid, for sharing that from the university. We're just going to do a bit of a sound check because earlier I understood people didn't hear Hassan very clearly. So can Hassan, we'll just invite you to say your name
Yeah, my name is Hassan Al-Kaisi. Al-Kaisi.
Al-Kaisi, okay. Can people hear Hassan now? Can we just get an indication, perhaps Joe and Astrid, if you could clarify that Hassan's coming through clearly? Yes, Joe's saying yes, and
Yes.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Okay. So Hassan, thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed today. It's wonderful to meet someone and have an opportunity to interview someone from the Syrian community who came here to Australia and to Newcastle only 4 years ago. So it's a very new community here. And so 4 years down the track to be able to interview you is wonderful. So as I was saying to Astrid, the barbecue in Australia is a place where lots of welcoming happens, and I'm sure you've been to lots of barbecues. When people say to you, where do you come from at a barbecue, what do you say to them?
Easily, I say from Syria, but when looking at their face, you have to give more information about maybe the location and maybe the people there. So I have to give more information about the location, which is in the Mediterranean Sea, and explain about the people and the diversity there and multicultural of people there also, depending on the region. Like we have the Muslims, we have Christians, and Kurdish, and we have Dorzi people also. So yeah, we can diversity is depending on region or depending on also their privacy or their own culture. Like
so lots of different cultural groups and different languages.
And then we extend talking maybe about the food. So people like on barbecue talking about food more and more.
So what kind of conversations do you end up with about food when you're at barbecue?
Maybe kebab and burgers, sorts of food.
That's great. So also at a barbecue, I'm sure people say to you, "Oh, what do you do? And what did you do back in Syria? What do you say to them?"
Actually, I was part of the family business there, and my role there was integrating the digital learning in the learning or the process of the learning for the students for different ages, different levels, especially their English language.
All right, so you're actually involved in helping people to learn English in Syria.
Using the software, using the multimedia, and we were doing well, and it was a private foundation, private educational foundation there, and everything has stopped at the end, maybe 2011.
2011, you had to leave.
And we had to know, we moved to a closed country, neighbors, which is Lebanon, and then we had a good opportunity to come to Australia.
Okay. So you were in Lebanon for about 5 years and then came to Australia.
Actually, we stayed in Lebanon for 2 years.
2 years.
2016 we came here to Australia.
Right. Okay. So who came here to Australia? Oh, sorry, no, I forgot to ask you. What are you doing now here in Australia?
Sure, since I arrived, I had opportunities to work on my English also. I went to TAFE, but because the level of my English is good, so I went to I had the opportunities to get an online courses, English courses, through different universities, and it was good for me to get this opportunity because I would like to experience really the courses, the English courses here in different universities, and there was an opportunity for me to catch the gap in these courses, if we can say it's a gap. But as you know, the English courses is the text is the fundamental of the English courses, but normally we learn languages through ears and mouth, through sounds. So we have to concentrate about our hearing and our pronunciation. Otherwise, after a while, you will have an English Syrian or English African or English Egyptian, like that. So the pronunciation is very important, and to train our hearing, our ears about listening and catching the words and the sentences, and also the patterns inside the one who is going to speak, so we can comprehend and understand. And also, it was very good for me to work as interpreter, working with Centrelink.
So you're working with Centrelink as an interpreter?
Yeah. It's a year and a half now, working with Centrelink. And a couple of months, I started also working as interpreter with Hunter New England.
With Hunter New England House?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So that interpreting work has been really important and valuable for you to do, yeah? Yeah, that's great. And using some of what you've learned in terms of the educational opportunities and so on that you've had.
Yeah, sure.
That's great.
Sure.
And you're now looking at starting up a small business as well, yeah?
Yeah, actually, I found it very important to also found an appropriate software to practice our listening and speaking. Otherwise, our instructors at the universities will say, go to this link and practice your listening and speaking, and no one will evaluate you. So in this software, I already got it, and I established my own website and went through different process just to launch this website. And I'm now in advertising and having speech or negotiation with English Australia also. This was a very nice, very good opportunity for me to do. And we are in the beginning with this software.
Okay, so that's great. So having some software that will help people with their speaking and listening side of the English learning, which you've said you found was a gap in the university teaching around that written and reading and writing aspect.
My goal in this is every one of us as students at universities can give a TED talk after.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. All right.
Yeah.
So can you tell us also a bit about who else came to Australia with you when you came back in 2016?
My wife and 4 children, two
Four
boys,
children,
two girls.
Right. 2 boys and 2 girls, right. And that's from across different ages, yeah? You have primary...
18.
18 is the oldest, yeah?
Yeah, a girl and a boy 15 and a girl 12. And another one, the last one's boy, he's 5 years.
A 5-year-old.
Yeah, all of us are playing with him now.
Okay, he's getting lots of attention from older brothers and sisters and mum and dad, yeah? So in this year of Refugee Week's year of welcome, we're interested to hear from you. What kind of things made you feel welcome, you and your family feel welcome here in Newcastle?
Actually, since we arrived, there's too many things. We recognized here that Australia likes to work as a team. First of all, we had a concern about the acceptance, if the people are going to accept us, or we are going to accept the culture here or not. But after a while, when my older daughter Bana has got an opportunity to get to spend a year of her journey of her school in Merriweather High School. This opportunity gave her too much power because she experienced there a high level of learning, teaching, and also social community. She get a nice opportunity to go for excursion in snow mountains.
In the Snowy Mountains.
Yeah, Snowy Mountains, and she spent 3 days there with the friends. And this opportunity was good for her because it's the first time she is apart from the parents.
So that was her first, going to the Snowy Mountains was the first time she'd ever been away from
first time she went to ski there also. And she was having a little bit of concerns. I met with, we met like a team meeting inside her school with the principal and supervisors to.
This is the supervisors of the trip.
Yeah, of the trip.
Yeah. So before she went, she was anxious, and so you had this meeting.
Yeah, she has like a couple of questions. I want to do so and so. So how can I do that there with keeping with this just keeping my privacy?
Yeah, yeah.
So we were discussing that, and she saw that everyone in the team is welcoming her, and her privacy will be respected.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's what.
So in that discussion, all her questions and concerns were answered, and she was being given an opportunity to be able to be herself on this trip and address those things. That's wonderful. So
really. Yeah.
So for you, seeing that kind of care and concern and individual support for your daughter really helped you to feel welcome and helped her to feel welcome.
Yeah, she to feel accepted. That she's accepted here in the community.
Yeah,
she's free to do whatever she want to do with the boundaries of not maybe ignoring the others.
Yeah,
Also, the others will respect her privacy.
That's right. So, are there other examples of feeling welcome here in Newcastle?
There was a big issue here with my second daughter, Sarah, because she diagnosed with diabetes type 1, and I wish her the best and all of other my kids. And actually, when the first counseling, it was here at John Hunter Hospital. We were surprising because really it's a very big team. You have a prof, you have a doctor, you have a nurse, you have a social worker, you have so and so. So many people were around us.
So you had all this big team. We would say in Australia a multidisciplinary team, from the medical staff to the social workers. And others that were involved in looking at her case and supporting her journey.
They cover every particular issue she has and every concern she has.
Right.
The most good opportunity for her, they recommend her to get the pump.
To get a pump for her diabetes.
Just her blood glucose for the whole of the day, and she feels very comfortable with this set of equipment. And also the social community here was amazing. After the consultation days, maybe 5 days, it was in John Hunter Hospital with her. I started receiving emails from different charities or different organizations. The first inviting it was to go to Reptile Park.
The Reptile Park?
Yeah. Okay. It was amazing there. It was a very amazing day meeting with other families have the same situation.
So this group that you're talking about is actually the Diabetes Association.
Yeah, it is.
So it was bringing together kids with diabetes and their families from all around Newcastle, and together you went to the Reptile Park.
Yeah.
So was that the first time you had an opportunity to meet with other families with kids in the same situation?
Yeah, it was the first time we met there with other families from same situation, and she started to feel comfort. She started to feel that she's not only the only one who has this particular situation. Next year, we get a bigger opportunity, a bigger invitation. It was a fun flight. It was a flight over Newcastle.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you mean a joy flight, but anyway, a fun flight over Newcastle.
Private planes, which is a small one, has 2 seats or 4 seats.
Yeah.
And you will, we had to fly over Newcastle, and the good thing was Sarah was said to us, because of me, you are going to flight now. Otherwise, you will not fly.
So your daughter, who was feeling a big difference, and that she was sort of, in a sense, maybe the disadvantage or the one who had some kind of issue, was saying everybody else is getting a chance of this because of me, and that made her really confident.
And there's some advantages now, not disadvantages.
Not disadvantages. Sounds great.
And she went over with her sister over Macquarie, Lake Macquarie,
yeah.
and Wallsend,
Yeah.
where we are staying, and they came back to the landing place.
That's great. And you got to go up as well?
Actually, yeah, I did, but the weather was a little bit bad, and so I went up with my son, but he feel unwell when we will start the flight.
Some people
So
like
it was
planes.
bombing us.
Yeah, okay.
So we came back.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it was nice.
Great, great. So it's really interesting that for you, really, I mean, apart from, it seems that there's many ways in which you have felt welcomed here in Newcastle, but those things that stand out for you are the things where your children, that were led by the opportunities your children have had, which is really interesting. Is there anything else that you think could have helped you to feel more welcome when you arrived here in Australia? Or even now, something that would help you feel more welcome?
I don't know, but really, actually, the community is like there's something about the accent of Australian accent. Anytime you can just say to the one who is talking to you, please slow down, and he will start to slow down, and you start to gesture and to show you what he's meaning. So very friendly.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So the Australian accent's a bit hard. So if all of us speak just that little bit slower, that's better for you. Yeah. We slow down, because when we get really excited, we can talk very fast, and then it's very hard to understand what we mean. Fair enough. So slowing down.
One time, maybe in the first month for us here, I was playing with the mobile, and I spent $20, I think, to get let's say to pay for a plan for the mobile phone, calling and receiving messages like that. But second day, I was also playing, so what I did, I like make a credit, $20 under $20, but they stay as a credit inside the program.
Right.
So I can use them after a month. But my concern is this $20 have gone from the bank account where they are now. So I called the customer service. First time, he was very rushing in when he was speaking. I didn't answer anything. I said, okay, thank you. I'm just hung up.
Yeah.
And then I want to know these $20, where are they? So I just call again. But my wife recognized that this is my fourth time I'm calling this person. Four times, and I'm not understanding what he's saying. She said, tell him to slow down. I said, yeah, you're right. And then I got the point,
Okay, so asking people to slow down is the key. That sounds great. And now you have become part of welcoming some of the newer Syrians to Newcastle. What are some of the ways in which you've been able to help people welcome and settle here in Australia?
Actually, because of my job as interpreter with Centrelink, this is a good opportunity for me to meet with the new arrivals.
Yeah, so you'd in fact be one of the first people to meet.
Yeah, after 3 days or 2 days of their arriving. Yeah, so you can see that the families, the big concern from them is, are we going to succeed here or not? Everyone looking for successful, looking for his privacy, for his comfortable, for money, for job, for learning English. The language is very big problem for them. But as soon as they recognize that my accent is close to their accent in Arabic, so they start to catch any opportunity to ask me, are you from Syria? And you will be surprised when you see their face.
Yeah, so their face changes.
Their face changes. They feel comfort. They say, we can learn, we can succeed.
Yeah. So actually meeting another Syrian who has been here a while, who can speak English, and so that gives them hope and confidence about settling in Australia as well.
Yeah, also in the community now, it's a lady or a community community work. They teach the children how to read, how to use the Arabic language.
Yeah, yeah.
So my wife is also a part of this job.
Yeah.
And yeah, as soon as the family is arriving here, we also asked for them the information that there's a group here ready to teach the children Arabic.
Arabic, yeah.
Or region information.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they feel very fast. They will feel that they are a part of the community, and they will start to pass the information they have.
Yeah, yeah. So you're able to share what you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. People do. It's very important to people, isn't it, that the children retain that connection to their language and culture, alongside learning about Australia and Australian culture, and learning to be here too. That's part of the being welcome, is being able to be both Syrian and Australian. Yeah.
Sure. And more languages you have, more opportunities you have in the future.
Yes, yes, yeah. The
so keep learning Arabic, keep learning English, or French. Learn any language you want.
Yeah, sounds great. Good on. Thank you very much. Just then, giving you that opportunity to wind up the interview part, we'll go to the panel shortly. But in saying to you, is there something, given you've got this opportunity, is there something you would like to say to the people of Newcastle about, I suppose, while you have this opportunity? Is there anything that you'd like to say while you have the chance? Say to people of Newcastle.
Not exactly what actually the people here is friendly, and they every time you will see a smile, especially from the older people.
Yeah.
And also some of them, they will say for you assalamu alaikum, which is the hello in our language too. Yeah, very nice people.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thanks a lot, Hassan. Really appreciate your time. Thank you. Back to you, Joe.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, Debbie, and thank you, Hassan. We can never underestimate a smiling face, and how welcome that can make people feel. And I've just been looking in some of the comments, and when you were talking about Centrelink, Hassan, and in your job, and when people can hear that accent, and in the comments there's a comment about language being a bridge to support people, to welcome them here. So thank you for all of the work that you do.
Most welcome.
Okay, so now we're going to have a Q&A. So this is where, if you have any questions for Hassan, or for Asteri, or for Roger, aka Fire King, or for Northern Settlement Services, or for STARTS, or for UON, now is the time to put your questions into the Q&A box. Alternatively, you might want to click on the Q&A box, and if there's a question there that's already been asked, feel free to upvote it and click on it, so that those questions can be facilitated to our panel this evening. So I'm just going to bring Roger in as well.
And we're just swapping around as well. We've got Asteri come back here, and I think Hassan's gone to join you, Joe.
Right, yes, here he is. Okay, so over to you, Astrid, to facilitate the Q&A.
Awesome, thank you guys. Well, I'm still here in outer space, and stuff's fine. Getting low on oxygen, but we'll work it out. So the Q&A, the most votes at the moment, Roger, is people want to know actually what got you into music. Where did you start? How did you start? How did Fire King start in music?
It was way back, like 4 years back, because I started my music in 2016. I had one of my friends who was a DJ. So he just decided to take me to a studio, seeing how people are just recording. And then one day he said, I want you to write a song. I was like, wow, how can I do that? I'm not able to write a song. And they were like, no, you have to try. Go for your life. I wrote a song. The first one was not very good. But at the end, I get used to it, writing songs. Up to now, it has been now 4 years. And I'm so glad that you love the song.
I hope that answers your questions. I think there was a few people that really wanted to hear about that. And Roger, I think you definitely, if you can just go back and have a look at some of the questions and comments, people are really, really impressed and really, really thankful to have your talent in our broader, what do we call it, the Greater Hunter community. Yeah, so stay tuned to see more of Roger, hopefully. He'll be playing at a place near you, and we'll share that EP if we can, Roger, through community and through our mailing lists and on social media when that comes.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for your generosity and spirit, music and talent. Okay, so this is a question just based on the current climate. It's a question around racism. And so the question is, and a few people have, would also like to hear about this question. So the question's about your experience of racism in Newcastle, and I think it's also talking to the current Black Lives Matter being so, people are calling it a movement. I'm going to maybe use that language because it was written in the question, but it's definitely at the forefront of politics and media at the moment. So I suppose the question is, what are your experiences of racism, and what are you noticing anything differently at the moment in your period in Newcastle when you've moved here to make it your home? Anyone can jump in if you want to, and yeah, it's up to you guys if you want to comment on that.
I can say some. With the racism, I did experience racism here in Newcastle, especially in school, where kids wouldn't want to sit with me. I think it was because of a barrier of language. I don't know, but also in the workplace where people will come, they see me, I'm in my uniform, I'm working, but they wouldn't ask me a question. They would rather go ask the cleaner a question. And if someone will come to ask me a question, I will give them the answer, but they will have to double check. I don't know, is it because I'm Black, or is it because my English? Still today, I'm still figuring out. And also in public areas, when people will give you that look, like, why you here? And I've been called by our neighbor, that we are monkeys and chocolate. That doesn't bother me, but hello, I don't know. And then for me, I think like racism is a choice. If I choose to be nice to you, then I will be nasty, not because I don't like you, just because I hate you, or because I just don't want to see you. Or I can be nice, thinking, we all have blood in our bodies and we're all humans. But since people believe in science that Black people are from monkeys, we're being treated as dumb people who doesn't know anything, stupid. But really, we can be smart in everything. And I'm pretty sure also why people are not smart in everything. There's something that is more, we can be on the same level. If we're on the same level, this will be upside down, to be honest. So that's what I could say. Yeah.
Thanks, Asuri, for sharing your experiences with us, making yourself vulnerable and being really, really honest with us and the audience. Really appreciate that. And yeah, like you raise a point that everyone should be aware of, that we're all unique, and if we weren't all unique and special, we would be living in a very bland existence, just to paraphrase what you were saying there in the end. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Does anyone else want to comment on that question?
Yeah, I have something.
Thanks, Hassan. We can't hear you very well.
Okay. Yeah, actually, we know that we have something.
Sorry, we can't hear you at all.
Hassan, if you want to come back to here, or
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Joe. Yep.
Just speak
No.
maybe a little louder.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yell at us, Hassan. Yell at us.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
That's fine? Okay.
Yes, it's brilliant.
Yeah, we know. I want to say that we know we have something different here from the culture that the people not used to see or used to hear before. But always for the people here, you have your choice, even to ask this question either in a polite way or in a rude way. So try just to think about your sentence before you start your speech or ask the question. Actually, in my first month here, after arriving, a man, he stopped me, and my wife was with me. And as you know, Muslims, they have to cover the head and they have to cover the body. And actually, he was asking in a very polite way. He said, "May I ask you a question?" And I know it's a privacy question, but if you feel unwell, not fine, just ignore me. Don't answer. I said, "Okay, go ahead. Let me. What's your question?" And he said, "Why are you covering the head? Why?" And he asked my wife directly, and I want her to answer this question. I let her answer the question actually. And she looked at me and he said, "What do I have to say?" Actually, in my region, we know what to say. In our region, it's a high level of responsibility for the community. But what I have to say to this person, she said, "It's our safety, man. As you know that the government give you an instruction when you are going to ride a bike and you are going to ride a motorcycle or car. So this is instruction from the government, and we have our own instruction from the law, from the Lord." Yeah, that's it.
yeah, we were talking about this the other day, weren't we, Hassan? And how she said that this is just like a safety thing, like a helmet or a when you ride a motorbike, that
Yeah,
she
exactly.
wear this as part of her safety.
Yeah.
And
I think Asteri and Hassan both really brought some information there. It's about be thoughtful and think about your intentions when you're asking questions.
Yeah.
Questions are fine. It's just what's your motivation, and maybe be reflective if you're being asked those questions from a stranger or a peer or a colleague or a new person that you're meeting. And that's not always an individual's responsibility to answer all your questions. The internet is a spectacular place that is still very new, and we can get much information from it to uplift our knowledge. And when we build relationships trusting with people, we can definitely expand our knowledge and our relationships at the same time. Does anyone else want to add to that question? Asteri, I feel like I just cut you off. It felt like you were leaning in, going to say something.
Yeah, but racism is just the previously gangs in Melbourne that was going on. It's sad how people feel like if one person decided to kill or to steal, all Black people are thieves. I cannot get it into my head. It's normal. White people, they take drugs, they go steal, but it doesn't come in general, all white people are thieves. But one Black person will go take drugs, influenced by the white people, but yet all Black people are thieves and they kill, which still today I don't understand how. Just because one person chooses to to go on their own way doesn't make me the other person. I'm not in the team with them. So they need to understand, just because we're all Black or we're all from different country, it doesn't mean we're all bad. There is good people, just like how there's good white people and bad white people.
Thanks, Asteri. And yeah, there's definitely a glaringly obvious double standard when you look at the history of countries such as Australia that have colonised and then deemed themselves maybe of a different authority. Yeah, thank you for raising that. Just before I move on to the next question, does anyone else want to add anything? I'm just looking at the questions that have been moved up in the boxes. Okay, so in a couple of the interviews, I think in Hassan's interview, it was definitely raised about your family and coming to Australia with your family. You mentioned who you came with. People are curious to know, Roger and Asteri, if you did you come to Australia with family? Does anyone want to answer that? You don't have to.
Yes, I came with my family. I'm from 10 kids family. Both my parents still alive, and they're all from one parent. I mean, we're all from one parent, not like dad has went and cheated, no. So with 10 kids, when I came to Australia, we came as six kids. One was already here, and the other ones were married, so they couldn't be on our same visa as us. But the moment they're all here, except one who is in America. So yeah.
Thanks, Asteri.
Yeah, me as well. I'm living with my family. I'm just living in a different suburb, but all of us, we are just here in Newcastle.
Have you fled the coop, Roger? Have you moved out?
Sorry?
I was speaking slang. I was doing that on purpose. It was a comment definitely you guys might have picked up on something that is people don't like is Australian slang. And I think I was definitely doing that. And yeah, the speed that we talk. I was just commenting saying that you're living in a different home from your family. So you've moved, maybe have you moved out?
Yeah, I came a little bit late because of the visa issue. My parents came with a medical visa. They came a little bit harder, so I had to wait like 3 months to come and join them. And then when I just arrived here, so they give me my own house, so I'm just living by myself. But sometimes I used to go to my parents' house, spend the rest of the time there if I want, and then come back to mine as well.
Thank you for that. Okay, so I was just looking at the next couple of questions. A couple of people have asked if you and Deb and Joe, you might want to be able to talk to this, but definitely the other panelists as well. People are saying and asking questions if you wanted to support people that are newly arrived in Newcastle or maybe have been here and settled for a long time, but still, you know, want to have some new friendships and relationships. How can they volunteer? Who can they speak to? How can people that have been living in Newcastle for a longer period of time reach out and engage with our new community members?
I might start with saying that Northern Settlement Services has a volunteer program, so people can volunteer here with us and do a number of things in terms of helping people with one-on-one English support, preparing for their citizenship test, as many of the Syrian community are currently doing, also with our homework centres and so on. But I should add that at the moment, because of the COVID-19 situation, many of our volunteer programs have had to be put on hold. The homework centres are actually just about to start up again in term 3. So our volunteer program has been on hold for a little while. We'll be putting up notices on our website when we're ready to start recruiting new volunteers, but we'll be first of all reactivating people who've been on our been volunteering with us already. The other area of volunteering we have is driving instructing, which is really appreciated if there's people interested. The other organisations that also have volunteers, there's quite a few of them. Zara's House was mentioned earlier by Asteri. They have volunteers there. The SSI, the Humanitarian Support Program for people when they very first arrived in Australia, also have volunteers. And there's other organisations as well. Perhaps we could put a message on our Northern Settlement Services Facebook page with the information about the various places to volunteer. Do keep in mind that all of us have had to put our volunteer programs on hold for a little while, and so they might pick up again a bit further into the year.
Thanks, Debbie. And just for maybe the people that are joining us tonight, maybe this evening or tomorrow, just to our Facebook event page, we'll just add those organisations that have been mentioned, and then people maybe in a couple of months when COVID changes and turns another corner, people can maybe start doing some volunteering. But at the same time, there's probably no harm in reaching out now, because sometimes there's paperwork that we have to do, there's processes, there's learning, there's work health and safety checks, working with children checks. So maybe jump on board now and you could get all of that, I guess, hard paperwork done beforehand and be ready to reach out.
Okay, so Northern Settlement Services, as Debbie was saying, is a really great place to start in terms of finding out about volunteering opportunities. At STARTS, we facilitate several events throughout the year, including with other partners, including Northern Settlement Services, the Unity in Diversity Festival. So it's a really great festival to get involved and meet and support community members on that special day, which is in Refugee Week, which will be in Refugee Week in June next year. And then there's a few other projects throughout the year that people are welcome to, if they'd like to support. But I'll also put that in the chat as well, and I'll also I'll give that to Debbie to post as well, if that's okay.
Yep, sure. So I'm going to just continue until we wait and see when Joe and Astrid get a chance to come back on. So just to say that there's a question there about if people would like to go back to their country of origin or if you're homesick. I'll just read the question properly. The question is, if conditions improved or got back to normal, would you like to return to your country of origin? And do members of the panel get homesick? So Asteri and Roger, we've got you here at the moment. Do you ever get homesick for your country of origin?
Of course, I do, and I can't wait. I can't wait the borders to be open. I'll be flying.
You're going to be flying back over to Burundi?
Yeah.
Right, to go visit?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. What about you, Roger?
Yeah, you know, it's our home. Even though we had some issues there, we can't just deny our place because we have got some family, we're back. So it could be good. We can just go and say hello and come back because this is our new home as well.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. And in terms, so I suppose you've answered both those questions. I can see Joe has come back on. Joe, Hassan and Joe, we've just been looking at the questions that people asked about whether our panelists ever get homesick and whether if the situation changed back home, whether they would be interested in going back to their country of origin. So Hassan, did you want to talk about whether you're ever homesick for Syria and whether you would go back if the situation changed there?
So we say, that's another Australian term, actually. So we say that we are, do you miss home?
We can't hear you, Hassan.
Is it okay now? Yeah. But in this world, always we have to know that wherever you are, you can get more and more
wherever you want to live. So you can just keep going, keep training, keep getting experience to live here and there. So that's fine.
Thank you.
So the sound wasn't great, but did I understand you were saying that you feel that wherever you are, you can make your home? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking over. The future is now and also delayed. the internet failed me. I'm sure you all did amazingly. I'm guessing that the Q&A has been spoken to. I've now lost all the questions, but I definitely asked the most important 5. So I'm going to hand over to Jo now just to finish up. And maybe if you guys do have access to the Q&A in the chat and there's something that's come up while I fell off the radar or the moon, you guys can jump in and ask that question on my behalf. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties we were experiencing.
That's okay. It's part of, I meant to say at the start of this webinar, please bear with us. This is our first webinar. And we all know that at various times, internet comes and goes. So, and I'm sure everyone else who logs into webinars or Zoom meetings, for that matter, has experienced these different things as well. We will, I'm just looking at the time, we will finish up, and perhaps we'll finish by just going around to all the panelists and asking them to perhaps say welcome in their language. And then we'll say goodbye and happy Refugee Week. So perhaps we'll start with you, Asteri. How do you say welcome in your language in Burundi?
Kaza.
Kaza. Hassan, how do you say welcome? Roger, how do you say welcome? Oh, you'll need to unmute. I'm sorry.
We have many languages, and I can just say in 3 languages, which is French. Yep. Welcome means bienvenue in French. And Swahili, it means karibu. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, welcome. I'm saying welcome to all of you. We're really honoured to have the 3 of you here in Newcastle and your communities. And I want to thank all our panellists this evening, Asteri, Debbie, Hassan, Astrid and Roger, for your time. And happy Refugee Week, Newcastle.
Happy Refugee Week, everyone. Thank you.
Happy Refugee Week, everyone. Thank you, Jo. Bye.
Bye.
I can see there's lots of people saying thank you and bye in the chat as well.
Brilliant. Thank you.